Moving on now, global markets rose to record highs last week, with investors pushing recession fears aside and doubling down on the AI trade. Well, the S&P 500 gained 2.5% for the week, while Asian markets of Japan and South Korea saw near peaks, driven largely by semiconductor and AI-linked stocks. A stronger than expected April jobs report also helped calm concerns about a slowdown in the US economy. Despite months of warnings about weaker hiring and layoffs in the tech sector, labor market data continues to show resilience. Well, for markets, the combination of steady economic growth and aggressive investment into artificial intelligence has created fresh momentum. Chip makers, cloud infrastructure firms, and companies tied to America's AI build-out remain at the center of the rally. But the focus is now shifting quickly from jobs to inflation. Investors are preparing for a critical week of economic data that could shape expectations for interest rates and Federal Reserve policy. Well, markets are now watching inflation data closely after oil prices pushed higher in recent weeks. Economists expect April consumer inflation in the US to rise to 3.8%, while core inflation is also expected to accelerate. Higher fuel prices are beginning to feed through transportation, airline and food costs, raising concerns that inflation pressures could remain stubborn for longer than expected. The growing rich-poor divide is also raising fears of a split economy. Listen in.
There is a vulnerability that seems to be emerging with our economy and consumer spending being 2/3 of our U.S. economy. The lower end seems to be really struggling at this point. And this earnings season really has highlighted that. From Whirlpool to McDonald's, we've seen some of these names and corporations really communicate in a very direct way. They're seeing real-time effects and also affecting how they're looking for the 2026 kind of going forward and how we can finish this year on a positive note. But the consumer is absolutely a concern for us at our shop, and we're seeing that come through in some of the earnings commentary.
The inflation data comes during a major transition period at the Federal Reserve. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is set to complete his term on May 15th, while Kevin Warsh's nomination to replace him is expected to move through the Senate. But at the same time, President Donald Trump is preparing for a high-profile trip to China alongside top U.S. business leaders, including executives from NVIDIA, Apple, Boeing and Citigroup. Well, the visit follows a legal setback for Trump after an international court ruled against Trump's blanket 10% tariffs, once again bringing trade policy uncertainty back into focus for investors.